Hey guys, welcome in. I am out here in the garden today because I'm going to do some planting. I have 4 Dwarf Euonymus that I want to put here on this walkway, along the walkway bed, the new one that I made a few months back. And I am going to go ahead and do some planting of those white Sunpatiens back here in the courtyard garden. I have been looking at the weather today. Right now it is 79 degrees and it is supposed to be pretty warm for the next week or so, which leads us into the end of February. So I don't know that we're going to get any more frost. If we do, I'll just cover them up, but I am going to go ahead and get at least the first Sunpatiens out. So let me show you where I'm planting and what I have, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I am looking at the walkway and I am going to back up to give you kind of a fuller view of it so you can see it from the front there. I have those faux trees that I'm going to be donating, so I've put them out to get rid of, but I have this new walkway here, which was a raised bed, and I've been out yesterday doing a little work. Hang on, there's a plane overhead. Flight lessons. They are just cruising along there. Alright, so if you recall, I had a plan of in this empty section here and in this empty section here I wanted to do Dwarf Euonymus, 3 on the front side, 3 on the back, for a total of 6, and same here. But getting my hands on them have been pretty challenging. The price has been pretty high. So what I had here, I had 2 there and then of course those there. So I moved the 2 that were there here, and I'll fill that section in with something for right now. If I'm able to get more, I will, but if not, I kind of want it to look decent. And I got my hands on these today. Look at these. They are so deep, rich, green, lush, fresh off the truck, fresh from the growers. So yeah, I'm excited about those. So I've got 4 of those, and I'm going to plant them in the same pattern as over here, where I'm going to have 2 here, so that this planting section is kind of flanked by 2 evergreens, and then these 2 here marking this section, which, as you can see, I don't have it filled in with things like the other one. And I would love to put 2 more here, but if you watched that video a few months back when I started planting here, there are red and white wires. The air traffic is really heavy right now. My goodness. But there are red and white wires right here, so I can't plant deep, so I can't put any kind of shrubs or anything. So I decided to just go with these sedums. I figured, why not? They don't, you know, they have a shallow root system, and at least it will be something here. I could also put some pots there and put some of the Dwarf Euonymus in the pots right here. So I don't know if I'll do that long term, but for right now I've got the sedums and I think it looks good. And as you look down the walkway, it's starting to fill up from that big empty bare space we had just a few months ago. So that is my plan today, to get these 4 planted right here, and we'll fill in the spaces in between them. We've got some of these Sunpatiens right here, and so we started planting back here a few days ago, back here in the courtyard garden. We started with a white camellia. So I am going to go ahead and dig out the onions and the grasses here along this outer edge of this bed, and I'm going to line it with white Sunpatiens. So that's what I'm going to do here, and that is going to be my planting for this afternoon. And I think that's going to look so pretty back there. So anyway, let's head out here in this hot sun, and we're going to get started planting right there. What you doing, Tika? What you doing? Guys, this Meyer lemon, when I got it, I was not aware that they had spikes like this. These spikes are huge. Look at that. This is crazy. Man. But anyway, that's what it looks like after the frost. So let's get started with our planting right here. And the sun is high in the sky. I'm out in the afternoon, so we might get glare from the direction that my yard sits. It's kind of hard to avoid it. So if we do get any, sorry up front. But I'm going to grab my gloves. I've already got a shovel out right there. I do want to get my smaller trowel because I'm not going to need a shovel for, you know, these Sunpatiens. And we're going to get these planted. All right, guys, I kind of had already started making holes. I had, well, before I even talk about the holes, let's talk about these shrubs. Look how rich and green and deep and lush these shrubs look. Man, they look so different from the ones that I got from clearance at the end of the season that had been sitting there for a while. So I'm really pleased with these. But and they're all the same size, and these are like fresh off the truck, so very exciting. But I had already started making a hole over here, so we're just going to finish up and we are going to get these planted. So there has been a lot of air traffic right this afternoon. So for those of you who are new, I live near a private airport, which is just off of the main road here. And you don't really hear anything in the house at all. But out here in the garden, definitely you hear it. It's mostly private jets and flying lessons, things like that. And it's been busy this afternoon. So, and there's a flying lesson going on right now. So you'll probably hear that overhead as we're working. But we're still going to work here. Here it comes. I can hear it coming back around. He tends to make a loop. He has the same pattern that he does when he's doing his lessons. But yeah, nothing I can do about that noise when you hear it. That's it. And we are planting Dwarf Euonymus. And Dwarf Euonymus typically grow 2 to 3 feet tall and 1 to 2 feet wide. So they make perfect evergreens to line a narrow walkway like this one is. So, and it's kind of root bound some, so I went ahead and scruffed up the root a little bit, but we'll do a little bit more. We want to make sure it grows outward and not just kind of wraps around itself. And we'll take all these tags off when we're done. That's one. And we're gonna try to plant this one a little bit more out towards the grass here. Always got to keep my eye on Tika. All right, 2 more. Might as well get those bigger weeds up now. All right, last one. Getting some of those weeds while I'm at it. All right. All right, guys. Well, that's all for. Let me step back. These two are definitely even. These are just a little bit off. So I think what I'm going to do, because this one's just a little bit more forward than this one, is I'm going to move this one back. I'm not going to touch that one. And if there's any moving that's going to be done, now is the time. Instead of just saying, oh, I'll leave it, and then later on, once it started spreading its roots, you then decide, oh, let me move it. It's driving me crazy. So I'm just going to do it now. Let me take a look. Yeah, that looks better. It was not much, but it's definitely noticeable. Oh, yeah. Yeah, much better, much better. Up, Tika, you ready to go inside? Okay. So, I'm going to give you a close-up look at this, but I think I really like it. And now it's time to let Miss Tika in. She's done chasing everything. All right. Let's try to get these onions and stuff up. For some reason, the guys that come and cut my grass just don't come back here. Even though I've asked multiple times, you keep forgetting the back of our garden. So it's like it's full of leaves and stuff still from earlier in the season that the rest of the yard isn't, because they just skip this part. So got to work on that. Let's lay them out and see how many I'm going to need. Okay, that's 6. And these should get fairly big, but they did not when I tried them last season. So we'll see how well they do, especially back here where it's a lot more shade. All right, guys, what do you think? That's good. I think this one needs to come up some. All right, now, yes, yes, that is perfect. Yeah, this is gonna look good. And it's not going to look good. It does look good. All right, we're gonna get a close-up look. All right, guys, as you can see, this is looking so pretty. Let's get back a little bit and get a full view. I love it, and that white will really stand out in this shade. See that? That is so pretty, guys. I love it, I love it, I love it. And let's get a really close-up look here of the flowers on the impatiens. Let's take a look at this one. They're so big and bold. Those are really pretty. And this camellia is opening. Oh, that is what it looks like, everyone. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. I think that looks so good back there, and it is definitely the pop of color that is needed. I am going to get everything watered in. I see clouds rolling in, so after I water it in, I'm going to call it for the day. But I want to thank you for joining me in the garden this afternoon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!